Currently our program checks if add is in user action and it executes these lines. But then it also checks if show is in user action in the same user input, which is not necessary. So to optimize our program for speed, we don't want to execute this line. To do that, you simply have to change if to Elif and do the same for edit, Elif-Edit, Elif-Complete, and Elif-Exit. So by doing that, what we do is this. Let's say the user entered add play chess. The program will check this condition. If this is true, it will execute this, and then it will not execute anything else in the while loop. Of course, it will execute the last line outside the while loop, which is what we want. But these code lines are not to be executed. So that speeds up the program. If the user enters show, for example, then the program will check if add in user action. If that's not the case, it checks the next block, which is Elif show. And if that's the case, so if this is true, then it will execute these, and then these other ones will not be executed. So the program will not check conditions anymore. If the user enters complete, then the program will first check if add is in the user input. If it's not, it will check if show is in user input. If not, it will check if edit is in user input. If that's not the case, it will check if complete is in user action. So that's the case, so it will execute this, but then it will not execute the other conditional. So as you are able to understand probably, is that the conditions are checked on a priority of rank, or which is closer to the top of the script. That could mean if you expect the users to enter mostly an add command, so if most of the time they want to add to the items, then it could be more logical to have this add condition, the first one. Because if this was the last one, and you know that most of the time the user will enter add, then these other conditions will be checked. Check this, no, check that, no, check that, no, and then the user checks the last one. So it makes sense to have the most popular cases on top. Right, I hope that makes sense. We also have something called else. So we have if, we have elif, and we can also add an else here, which works like this. Else, a colon, print, command is not valid, which will be executed if, for example, the user enters something like they didn't enter add, they didn't enter show, nor edit, nor complete, nor exit, but they enter something like crash or soften. So in that case, the program will say this command is not valid, because what the program does is it checks this condition, it checks that, the other elif, 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 and then if none of these conditions were true, then the program will execute something else. That's the meaning of else. So we know that the user didn't enter the correct command, and we print out this string. So back again to add in user action, we implemented that, and show, this is also implemented. We expect the user to enter simply show, not followed by anything else. But then in edit, we expect the user to enter something like edit followed by a number, such as 1. So first perhaps they want to see the list of to-dos, and then they say edit number 2. So let's count for that scenario here. So elif edit in user action, we get the number from the user, but we don't want to get the number through an input function. We don't want to ask the user to enter a number. We want to get the number from this variable. So a number is equal to user action, and we use slicing again. So this time would be we have 0 for E, 1, 2, 3. Then the user will have a space, so 4 for the space, and 5. So we expect to have the number at position 5. So everything after that is going to be the number. Now if we try to execute this, and before I execute it, I'll also print out the number to see what we get. So execute. First show, then edit 2, press enter, and we get an error. So in line 26, because I entered number before defining it, so I have to put it here, run again, show, edit number 2, press enter, and of course we get an error this time. Unsupported operand type for minus, so str and int. Maybe you notice it that we didn't convert the number to a string, because what's happening is that when the user enters edit 2, that is a string, so something like this. That's a string. So first we want to extract it. So user action 5, that will give us 2, but you see this is a string, so we want to convert it using int in front. So here goes int, and that expression goes inside int. And then we increase the number by 1 to adjust for the index system. Then we open the todos.txt as a file, read the to-dos, then the new to-do. Now this is asking for a new to-do. So the user will enter a new to-do, and then we change to-dos number. We have the number in here, and new to-do plus a backslash. So new to-do is the new to-do of the user. Let's try this. Show edit 2, enter new to do. That would be play chess instead of play soccer, and press enter. Show and play chess is the second item now. So that's about edit and complete. Now let's implement this as well. So the idea goes the same. We don't want to get the number with another input function. We want to get it from the user action variable, user action. So can you guess this time what's the number? So that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the space after complete, and 9 for the number. So the number could also be 2 digits. So we have to say everything that comes after 9, starting at 9 and everything after that. And convert it into an int. Like that. And then the number goes in here. We strip it out and we pop it out in here. So that should work. Show complete 2. Show and play chess is completed. And that's about this video. So that's a complete if-elif-else block. You always start the block with if, and if you want you can continue it with elif, checking and checking and checking for different conditions, and if none of those conditions is satisfied, perhaps you want to do something else. So every other condition that is not one of these conditions is included by else, and in that case you want to say, oh, that's a totally different thing, and so you print out something like command is not valid. So that's a lot to digest, but this is very crucial to learn. So I hope you understand the difference between if and match case. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you in the next videos.